Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, and welcome to How to Deal with Leftoids 101. You know, it's actually pretty easy, and it's kind of the reason why we see leftoids avoiding debate and discussion like it's the frickin' plague. The reason they're constantly a no-show in the battleground of ideas is because their ideas are trash, but mostly their arguments are built upon a bunch of false premises, false assumptions, every argument seemingly held up by a scaffolding structure of lies. And so all you gotta do is remove one structural pillar and the whole thing falls apart. And when it comes to leftist arguments and rhetoric, there's so many freaking holes, it's like Swiss cheese. All you gotta do is find the vulnerability and exploit it, and it's pretty much GG, good game, game over. Well, I'm laying down the context here in the intro because I have the perfect viral example, a video that completely exemplifies the concepts laid out in the intro. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, here's the viral moment that everyone's talking about on Twitter. Here's Riley Gaines, student athlete extraordinaire turned activist, debating, well, your typical unimpressive Democrat who happened to stumble their way into a congressional seat somehow.
Such as teamwork and goal setting. In terms of mental health, studies show that participating in youth sports is associated with lower rates of anxiety and depression, lower amounts of stress, higher self-esteem and confidence.
Women must stop. Inclusion cannot be prioritized over safety and fairness. And Ranking Member Lee, if my testimony makes me transphobic, then I believe your opening monologue makes you a misogynist. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gaines. I now recognize Ms. Perry for her opening statements.
Good afternoon, Chairman McLean, Ranking Member Lee, and distinguished members of the subcommittee. My name is Sarah Parshall Perry. I am a senior legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation. As a former varsity athlete, the mother of a girls varsity athlete, and former senior counsel for civil rights at the Department of Education, I have, as the saying goes,
Madam Chair, excuse me, I move to have the gentlewoman's words taken down.
The committee will suspend.
Madam Chair, she's engaging in personalities.
Can I just ask how it's fair to be called transphobic?
There's a
thing.
I would say men disguising themselves as women are engaging in personalities.
Order.
Hang on. Order. Let's get a ruling. The chair.
Okay, I move to withdraw the point of order.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. I now recognize Ms. Perry for her opening statement. We can start over. Thank you.
And that right there is the perfect argument. It's all that needs to be said. You know, respond to these leftoids with the same nonsense and lunacy that they attack you with. Democrats want to play the game of just slapping labels on people, then we should play the exact same game. Protecting young female sports makes you transphobic, then supporting the opposing side, the destruction of female sports, for the inclusion of biological males in that realm of competition. If anything, I'd argue that's quite misogynistic, isn't it? Two can play at this game. You know, it's like I've been saying for a while at this point. Democrats and all of their isms, very quickly these dishonest Democrat tactics of labeling people with whatever relevant ism they could think about, well, it's starting to lose its power. It's kind of like the boy who cried wolf. Democrats have cried fascism way too many times. At this point, the word fascism has completely lost its meaning. It's lost its power and significance. Now we hear Democrats say, ooh, fascism this, fascism that, and everyone pretty much instantly disregards it at some point. Maybe there will be an actual threat of fascism, but probably most people won't be paying attention because we've heard it a million times before. Oh, everyone who disagrees with you is a fascist? Any political ideology or policy that isn't progressive is fascism? Oh, interesting. Let me disregard that opinion entirely and move on with my life, acting like a normal, rational, adult human being. Transphobic, this, that, and the other, literally everything is transphobic? Yeah, I don't think so. Not buying it, no longer buying it, I think is what a lot of people are saying. Even some people who would have been susceptible to the rhetoric maybe 3 to 4 years ago, I think a lot of those people are starting to wake up, realizing they're being played. They're being dragged along in all of these activist attempts, you know, these mass gaslighting events. You have all of these emotionally susceptible people who are being dragged along, dragged through these nonstop emotional roller coasters only to be disappointed and find out, I don't know, maybe fraud lies at the end of it, like BLM, for instance. And it's getting to a point where people just no longer buy it anymore. You're not transphobic because you believe that females should be competing against females in a fair, equal, balanced sporting environment. You are not transphobic. You are just a rational human being thinker. Obviously, because the arguments on the other side, well, they're not exactly convincing. You know, Mrs. Lee here, Democrat representative, her argument isn't exactly sound, now is it? Oh, the emotional well-being. Yeah, the emotional well-being of what? Less than 1% of the population at the detriment of all young females and their ability to compete in their own freaking sports? It's a crackhead idea. But then, of course, the copium comes out. Here's the second element to the argument. I mean, if you were skeptical, call your skepticism cured at this point.
And success in school sports depends on a whole range of factors, including how hard you work and coaching and access to really good resources and facilities. And trans students participate in sports for the same reason as their kids, because it is fun, because it creates belonging and community, because it teaches so much about persistence and leadership and discipline, unless they learn to lose gracefully, hopefully. And often they learn to win with dignity, hopefully. They learn to do the sort of work that means you have higher grades and stay connected to school. I want every kid to have that chance.
Well, there it is, folks. Women are just gonna have to deal with it. Just deal with it, bro. You know, the left's political messaging to young women who are concerned about their safety in sports and their ability to gain scholarships and just compete in the world of female sports in the first place, yeah, none of that matters. Suck it up, bro. Don't be such a whiny baby, bro. That's essentially what feminists are telling young women. What an absolute farce. I mean, great argument, right? Anybody who disagrees with our idiotic policies is a transphobic bigot who doesn't care about the happiness of less than 1% of the population at the expense of literally 50% of the population. Like, these arguments are so stupid. It's really astonishing to see anybody take that side, you know? The left is a cult. That's what we keep saying, and it's because it's true. You have to be a cultist to stand by this nonsense. You just have to be. There is no other explanation. There's no justification for any of this. It's a bunch of copium, a bunch of people who have just bought into the partisan ideas and rhetoric. Their arguments are trash. What they're saying makes absolutely no sense. And that's why it's so easy to debunk. It's so easy to make them look like complete fools with a simple question. Well, if I'm a transphobe, then you must be a misogynist. Or here's a great question that we've seen in the past completely dismantle leftist rhetoric and ideology. Just simply ask them, well, what is a woman? Define a woman without using the term woman. You're all of a sudden, you're very confident leftoid pushing up their glasses, actually, turns into a blabbering fool, stumbling all over themselves, confused, sounding like frickin' Justin Trudeau, unable to answer a question, unable to come up with a logical counter, and that's because their ideas, their rhetoric is not based in logic, but rather based in feeling and whatever the cultist leftist trend of the day is. Find the leftist behavior or the leftist ideal and then justify it, work backwards, instead of building sound arguments based on facts and, you know, basic common sense and the well-being of society. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, friends, and I will see you on the next one.